Alright, so I wanted to make a quick video, overviewing what the tone controls are with this guitar, and all the different volume controls that you have with this guitar. I really praise this guitar because of all the controls and functionality you have with playing with different impedances. You have a very low output pickup in neck, and a very high to medium high output in bridge, right? And the output of the guitar is going to take on the properties of resistance from the lowest output. So you can basically conceptualize this guitar as an SG Junior and pretend that there's no neck pickup there. But what if that's lame and you want a neck pickup? But you're really used to your SG Junior thing. This is kind of like an SG Junior with way more elaborate, like, resistance control. That's a fun way to think of it. So if I just play you the neck pickup, right? This is this. You also have two mini controls down here. First of all, you have volume control, you have a tone control, which is a push-pull tone control. It's 250K pressed down, and it's a 500K pot if you pull it up. But you have a single coil humbucker switch for the neck pickup. In single coil, it's just the one, so it's very quiet. But then in humbucker, it's both of them. It's still a quiet pickup, but you don't have to make it really quiet or quiet. Right? So this isn't on 10, and this isn't on 10. I'm not going to do that. I have Sharpie markers on the guitar just where I think it should be voiced. The volume is kind of somewhere between a 7.5 and an 8.5. The tone control is probably somewhere between a 7 and an 8. They're not exact. The caps aren't, the actual cap it's sitting on here isn't it's not a perfect knob. 0 isn't always 0 and 10 isn't always 10. So just the Sharpie marker is my sense of 0. So here's the neck pickup split as a single. Now here, if I make it a humbucker instead. Single. So that's your bass, right? Haven't touched the volume. I'm just playing with the output levels. If I put it in the middle, it's both these pickups together. I'll switch it back to single, and this is the humbucker. Now this is where I'm using this pickup to soften this pickup. Maybe I want to hear this on 10, but I don't want the volume of it at 10. Maybe I want the tone at 10. So I'm using this to weaken it by this being so weak in them together. So check this out. I'm sorry. I'll start this test with in phase, not out of phase. That hasn't mattered before because we've just done the neck pickup. Now what happens if I put this in humbucker? So this is humbucker, and that, and they're together. That's a good standard volume. At least for this guitar. That's a good bass 5 for this guitar. But there is a phase switch, so I can switch these two pickups together in phase or out of phase. So standard is in. Now it's out of phase. You'll notice a lot of the mids are gone. It's kind of like a comb filter effect. So that's cool. Now, then, if I put it all the way down, it's just this. It's going to be a lot louder. So, just to compare, right? So, big jump in volumes. Whilst I have never touched the volume or the tone knob. So everything is exactly where I want on the guitar, right? Where does this volume and output control really matter? What it matters is in your gain staging. Like if you're a pedal player, right? This is a Dr.Z clean amp. I have Caroline Corporation Hawaiian Pizza Fuzz, which is like a fuzz, but instead of tone control, you have voltage control. You have a BBE Opto Stomp going into that, and that's an optical compressor. You have a, what is this, a Sweet Cream? It's a Tone City Sweet Cream overdrive, which is just serving as very light overdrive. And then you have a JHS Muffuletta for Big Muff. This is the JHS setting, which I like the best. It's loud, it's uncompressed, it's cool. So, you're playing with two fuzzes, one at the beginning of the chain and one at the end of the chain, with an overdrive and a compressor in the middle. So, if you're going for a very specific kind of breakup, or a very specific level for your rhythms, and then you want a solo on top of it, that's where you have that control, right? So if I have the neck pickup, and it's on single mode, that's a low output setting, but I have both of my fuzzes on, right? There's not a lot of background noise at all. Now, listen to how much more intense that is if I switch it all the way to bridge, right? Now, it's not feeding back ridiculously, because it is at bedroom volume. But at stage volume, this kind of headroom is going to act a lot differently. With the weaker output settings, you do lose definition. But you might also find that appealing, especially as a rhythm player, because the thing that's going to, be pulled back is your highs. You're going to hear your lows well, but your high end's going to be rolled off. That's also the nature of this pickup profile versus these, right? And there's harmonic content being thrown all over the place with this kind of gain staging. So they're really going to work differently. But what if I throw that in middle position? And they're both humbucker, right? This is humbucker, this is in humbucker mode, and it's in the middle. I'll put the compressor on there. I might really like that. Maybe put it in single coil. So, it's cool. Hey, what's going on? Nice. I'm making a video explaining what my tone controls do on this guitar. You have all the different resistance settings for the output. So, if I put an overdrive in the middle, right, we're back in single. bridge, it's a lot harder to control. Here you go, that's the other convenient thing, too, is playable stage volume. This is just bedroom volume. There's so much gain going on as soon as I do this. However, maybe I want to play with that. Who's to say I couldn't have a delay, like a really saturated delay, where I get some feedback going, and then switch it back, and just kind of play that way. This is all without having touched the volume. I could do umpteen things with that, but these are just base settings for you to build off of. This is also super easy for controlling if you want to make like presets. Like if you want to write out your settings on an index card for different fuzzes, you know, different pedals in different studio situations. That's where that's really cool, is, oh, okay, you can kind of remap it exactly. Even if you don't want to do the funky thing that I'm doing with the Sharpie marks, you can just, you know, say I was playing on 10 or I was playing on 8. But, like, you have this going on too, so you can really set your different integers where you want to sit in a mix. So, the loudest setting is probably the fuzz, the compressor, and the overdrive together. It's also the most, like, raunchy. Yeah, you kind of get it. There's a lot of different things you can do here. So, let's play with this in context. I'm going to play a recording that is the two fuzzes together in the single coil mode. Right? And I'll play on top of it. And you can hear the different volume levels in practice. End on a bad note. It's a bad habit, but that's just what happens. But you could see how I set my volume how I liked it before, but then I could switch to 10 and then get all different kinds of profiles. And you heard me switch, like, once I had the compressor on. You know, you can take these weaker settings and really boost them. It's a big difference to play with a compressor, without a compressor. But there's a lot of cool things you can do with this guitar. Alright, before I start going on my usual cliches, that is the point. It's a cool guitar. Volume controls, tone controls aside, I know it. I stand the neck. I'm super familiar with it. That's what makes me really be able to make the best out of it. So, have fun. Try this wacky wiring yourself. It's a good time.